It is the worst thing that you could do to an inmate. You know, like it doesn't matter if it's mom, dad, brothers, sisters. If you book a visit, bro, turn up, man. You know, like, or at least have a good excuse. You know, because I'm telling you, like what's called there's two things that I always warned my people about. Yeah, number one was I would rather get jumped by 10 guys than get into that truck that takes you on escort. I hated those truck rides. Like, you're stuck in there with, like, back in my day, it was 4 on my side, 4 on this side. So 8 guys, yeah? And I'm pretty sure it was 4 or 5. So it's either 8 or 10 guys inside a truck. Mate, it's friggin' stuffy in there. Half the guys in there wouldn't be showering. So it stinks, and then some of the guys would be smuggling cigarettes. So what? Imagine this: if you don't smoke and the truck is driving, there's cameras in there, so the screws can see everything, but the screws are not allowed to stop the truck. Yeah, and when these guys spark up a smoke and you're inside the truck, mate, it's the worst thing ever. And that's why I'm saying to you guys, like, to you youngsters out there, when you go to prison, you're not going to be going to Supermax, or you're not going to be traveling in the 4 drives like I was. You're going to be in the big trucks. You ever see those big white trucks? It's always on the streets. There's a lot of them, yeah? There's inmates inside those big white trucks. And that right there is the worst thing that I could say that I dealt with when I was in prison. Going in those trucks was the biggest headache. The amount of times that I used to attack other inmates inside inside those trucks, and it was because they would smoke a cigarette while I was in there, you know. So everyone is handcuffed. Imagine 5 guys there, 5 guys here, everyone's sitting there. Half of the boys don't friggin' smoke, and then I say the same thing to everyone. I go, look, boys, please, the truck's about to move. If you want to smoke now, because once the truck moves, like, mate, I don't want to smell that shit, you know. And I always say it politely and like a gentleman. And always there's got to be one that sparks it up while everyone's sleeping, waiting to get to their allocated prison or to their allocated courthouse. And once you're handcuffed like this, as soon as you smell that cigarette, or as soon as you're pissed off at someone, straight away you're jumping over the chair and you're trying to attack with your handcuffs on. You're trying to throw kicks. Like, these dramas actually happen in the truck. The amount of dramas that pop off in the truck is, you know, like, it's if only the screws were allowed to release all the footage from inside these trucks. I swear, the amount of rubbish as well that I hear inmates talk inside this truck, I'm like, hey, there's freaking cameras up there. Like, why are you talking about your case and about stupid things that you've done when you were outside? There's cameras inside this truck and they can hear everything, you know. Anyway, with Jobsy, he had given up on his friends. So while he was doing time with me, obviously I explained to you guys how he, but because he was upset at his friends booking visits, not turning up, and the whole time he was in there, he probably got a visit 3-4 times from his mates. And guess who brought his mates to visits? His sisters. Bro, I'm not even like laughing at that situation, because that situation happened to me too. You know, like, I had boys when I was locked up, back when I was 18 years old, and when they would turn up to visit me, they would ask my parents for a lift, and I was like, bro, you got your own friggin' what you call cars. Like, how about you drive yourself and come to visit? What are you annoying my parents for, you know? Anyway, here's a big story for you guys out there, you know, about Jobsy. Like, he got outside and he decided to go straight. And remember, he had spent his whole childhood life kicking it with the Mount Jewel boys, you know. All these guys that you guys are hearing about on YouTube and shit, like that Franny and all his mates, like the OC guys. All these guys grew up with Jobsy, you know, and Jobsy got out and he decided to cut ties with everyone from Mount Jewel, you know. And I remember him telling me when he got out, he goes, far out, it's my time to start a new life with Zoe. And I didn't understand what he meant. And then he explained to me that he was moving to another area out of Mount Jua, and that was his way of getting away from all his friends that that left him with it. And it's not like he hated on his friends; he loved his friends because they're childhood friends. What he hated was the fact that they left him with it, and only his family stood by him. And then he had a missus that I don't know. I never heard about anything about her, but he was the one that that he ended up moving to another area with, yeah? And listen to this. As soon as he moved areas, he started a new job. An accident happened. I'm not going to explain the accident, but the young brother ended up passing away from that accident. And this is right after he chose to straighten his life out. Like, I believe that God works in mysterious ways, and if it's your time, it's your time, you know. Like, I can honestly sit here and say that God has saved me time and time again. Why? I have no idea. Does he have a plan for me? I have no idea. But what I'm doing right now, like, I'm doing it knowing full well that there's going to be a lot of haters, and there's going to be a lot of people who don't believe in what I'm saying, yeah? Honestly, I don't care. My thing is, God is watching over me, and God is the one and only that I need to please. You know, like, I love my parents and my siblings and my family, but when I do this for the younger generation, it's with the hope that they understand that this is not a life to live. Yeah, like the young brother Jobsy, he spent his whole life kicking it with these boys. Yeah. They were doing crime together. They were running amok together. And then as soon as he chose to go straight, he lost his life, yeah? And this is the point of what I'm saying. He wasted all those years on his gang-related mates, because Jobsy wasn't gang-related. He was just the type that, you know how you have a gang, but there's always one that you one guy in the group who's not gang-related, but you get along with him? Yeah, so that was Jobsy, you know. He was the kind-hearted guy who was like an angel, yeah. Love you, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate you. and all the time that Jobsy gave his friends is time that he lost with his family. You know what I mean? And I know for a fact that that Jobsy's goal in life when he left his friends was to become a somebody, you know. And I'm pretty sure that he had a kid with this girl, or she was pregnant or something like that. But his sisters, I was telling you right now, more loyal than the gangsters, you know. They went above and beyond every time. And the younger brother losing his life, it was a sad story, but it was a story that I needed to tell right now, because the young brother wasted all his time on all his gang-related mates, and then as soon as he chose to go straight, that's when he lost his life. You know what I mean? Appreciate y'all. Love your niece. Thank you very much, guys. and this is where I'm at right now. Like, I had to tell these stories because, yeah, I can sit here and tell you all about gang-related rubbish, but you also have to know the deep and meaningful stories, which is stories like Jobsies and Blackies, you know, young souls that lost their lives too early. The third person that I'm about to speak about is a guy named Sella. Some of the boys knew him as Caps. But majority of the boys called him Sella, especially the ones that grew up with him. Yeah, Sella was a guy who was from Liverpool. He had a hard time coming up as a kid. He was adopted, and there was a lot of mental health issues that came with the upbringing, you know. But the difference between Sella and the rest of the guys that was going through the same issues is that Sella kept it all inside, you know. And this is what what I have to explain to you young guys, if you have issues, you know, like especially dramas at home or dramas on the streets with other gangs and whatnot, like speak up, you know, like to your elders, to the older boys, whoever you got to speak to, like speak up. Before I continue with this story about Seller, which is a big, massive story, I need you guys to tap it up, yeah? Like, I'm here doing what I got to do for the younger generation. All I need from you guys is to tap, 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 and tap it up. Get these friggin' likes up, and and help me. You know what? You know what's funny about this thing? TikTok got a hold of me, yeah, and I don't know nothing about TikTok, and apparently there's different types of ways to build your status, yeah. But pretty much, from what my team were explaining to me, is TikTok has been allowing me in the last 2 lives to tell my stories now. As you guys have noticed, I haven't been cut off, and I think that TikTok have realized that everything that I'm saying is from the heart, and it's directed straight at the younger generation. So let's do this, guys. Tap it up, and let me get on with the story. All right, Seller, one of the most loyalist, sincerest guys that I've ever come across. You know, I can't put the word reliable in there because the brother, he couldn't be there for people because he didn't have money, and he had to take care of himself and his sister, and this is something that everybody needs to understand with Seller, is that he was a strong-willed guy, even though he came from a dark upbringing, and he was a guy that never acted like he was down and out. Always had a smile on his face, and he had long hair like mine. And he was very muscly guy, yeah. And I remember, before I get on to what happened with him inside prison, let me explain this to you. Before he got locked up in prison, he did not take drugs, yeah. Like a typical islander, yeah, he'll have a drink up with the boys, but nothing extreme. But this guy, Seller, he had hands, yeah, and he was always getting into dramas because he had a sister, and a lot of guys used to try to pick up his sister because she was like a pretty girl in the area, yeah, and he wouldn't put up with it. Like, as long as you treated his sister with respect, he was all good with it. He's not the type of brother who's who's over protective, you know. He let his sister do what she wanted to do, as long as she was taking care of herself. But Seller's thing was, if anybody dared to touch her or say anything rude to her, like, he would step up to the plate, you know, straight off the bat. And I seen Seller fight outside at Liverpool. He took on a group of guys because of his sister, but the bloke went on with it, and say no more. Like, everybody that was involved in that fight knew Seller's name after that, but everyone back then, they were calling him Caps. And then another fight that broke out with Seller was against the Rebels. 3 Rebels tried to put it on the younger islander that was with him, yeah? Same thing. Seller stepped up to the plate, annihilated these 3 Rebel guys, and by the time we got there, there was police everywhere and 3 Rebel guys on the ground. And this is what Seller was like. He was pretty much a one-man gang. Oh, love you. Thank you very much, G. Aloosh. Love you. A1 oosh. B smokes. So fast forward when Seller ended up coming to prison, yeah. Remember, the brother was not drug related, and he's a family man, and he was not the type to ever look down on nobody. He was my older boys, yeah. And he was always so kind-hearted and loving. And I met him at church, and it was his cousins that brought him to church. That's the first time I met him, and we got along so well. You know, a lot of people used to try to say that me and him were brothers because we sort of look alike, yeah. Anyway, when he came to prison, the racial wars was going on at the time. Monkey, thank you very much, love yous. And because Sela had good hands, they all saw it for the first time at Silverwater Prison when he came in. And when the dramas broke out, remember, Sela's got nothing to do with nothing. Dramas broke out with the KOORIE boys and the Islander boys. Sela was sitting there, had nothing to do with it. And it was about 7 KOORIE boys on 3 Islander boys. The screws come rushing in to try to stop it. And Sela, for some reason, because they were Islander boys, he ran in and got involved. From that day forth, every single person, every single Aboriginal remembered Sela's face. Long hair, pretty boy face, and just muscly, yeah? And that was Sela's biggest mistake. Just like mine that I told you last week. Now, my biggest mistake was bridging up to the Aboriginal guy when I first come into prison. They never forgot my face. Same as Sela. As soon as he helped the Islander boys and got involved, oof, love you, G. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. As soon as Sela got involved in that, everyone now knew his face, you know. And Sela started going from prison to prison, obviously because now that the Aboriginals knew his face, he was taking them on everywhere he went. And it wasn't because he had dramas, it was because of that one incident where he jumped in for the Islander boys. Now he is involved in the racial wars without even knowing it. And this is gonna come back to you younger boys. This is what's gonna happen inside prison when you're trying to do your time. You have to try to stay focused on going home. I understand, like, you have to be loyal to the boys and whatnot, but you have to understand that if you stay inside prison, how are you gonna help your parents? You know, how are you going to help your missus? How are you going to help your kids? You know, I'm not going to sit here and try to be friggin' your dad, because I was doing dumb rubbish when I was inside prison. And the dumb rubbish that I was doing was I had an opportunity time and time again. Love yous, thank you very much. To go straight and do my time and go home, but I didn't, because like my mum always said to me, Peter, your loyalty, you know, is a blessing, but it's also a curse, because I could never leave my friends with it. And when I was inside, I could never leave the Islanders with it. You know what I mean? And I said it to you guys, Sela was the exact same type. He wasn't the type to step back and just watch his Islander brothers cop it. He was always getting involved. And this was the biggest mistake that the brother made, you know, was getting involved. Because once he got involved, the older Islander boys now grabbed him and put him under their wing, yeah? Now Sela is one of the boys. And remember, Sela's a one-man gang. He can freaking stick up for himself. He doesn't need boys, you know? But the older boys grabbed him, you know, as soon as they saw that he had hands. And guess what the first thing was that the older boys did to him? You know? They didn't give him food. They didn't take care of him. Guess what they did? They gave him drugs. You know, the brother's never, ever taken drugs before until he stepped into prison. And then the drugs was what brought him down. Because once the brother got on the drugs, he ended up with a habit, and he started losing his way, you know. But when I was with him, even though he was on drugs, he was still the same Sela. Smile on his face, always friggin' having a laugh with the boys, and never ever looking down at the younger boys, always taking care of the younger boys, you know. And Sela was involved in the drama at Park Lee that broke out. That was it. Pretty much, you could say the Aboriginal boys had Sela's name on their list. Wherever he went, he was gonna get got, or he was gonna do what he needed to do to get out of it. And don't forget, the older boys that took him under their wing, they didn't explain to Sela about racial wars. I was lucky that I had friends that I had known, yeah. So these guys explained to me more about racial wars, and I was in and amongst all the drama that was going on. But with Sela, because he was a fun-loving, loyal brother, No one ever sat him down and said, Seba, this is how jail works. This is the groups that are aligned. This is the groups that are aligned with us. Make sure you don't cross the line, you know. But no one explained that to the brother. So pretty much what the brother would do is every time he saw an issue, he would jump in straight away. And everybody knew that Sela wasn't the type to be effed with, you know, because he'll smile at you, but as soon as you step on his toes, you're gone, you know. And he wouldn't fight with sheaves. He wouldn't go get knuckle dusters. He wasn't the type to go break brooms. But this guy would just use his fist. That's how much of a good fighter he was. But the end of Sela's reign inside prison was when he actually realized himself that he was in prison. So remember, before he got to Lithgow prison, he was already on drugs, and bad on drugs, you know. So when he got to Lithgow prison, remember what I told you guys, Lithgow prison is in the shape of a coffin, and Lithgow prison and Bathurst prison belongs to the Aboriginals. I don't care what anyone says here. The Aboriginals ran these two prisons. You know, if you wanted to come there, you had to make sure you got along with the KOORIE boys, because these guys, they axed anyone that they didn't get along with. They ran those prisons, you know. Kempsey, Wellington, all those other prisons, they didn't come till later. They were all opened later. I'm talking about the old school prisons that the Aboriginals were running, which was Bathurst and Lithgow. So when Sela walked into Bathurst prison, obviously he knew, like, oh, well, I'm going to have to fight my way out of this one. But Sela still didn't understand. This is racial wars. It's not a one-on-one, you know what I mean? Like the poor brother, like, he didn't figure it out, you know? And I tried to explain it to him when I was with him. But remember, I'm young. So the brother would only take in what he wanted, and then everything else I said would go straight through one ear and out the other. Walks into Lithgow prison. First thing everybody sees is the guy with the long hair, pretty boy face, and muscly. Walks into his pod. Love you, G. Thank you. Murray, G. Thank you very much. And then next minute, he got attacked. The brother got abstayed several times. Like, everyone jumped him. Like, it was like everything that Sela had been through for the last 2 years all came back and bit him in the ass, you know. And this is what I'm saying to younger generation out there. This is exactly what's going to happen to you guys. You know, all the stuff that you guys are doing right now, all of you youngsters were hanging around killers. All you youngsters were hanging around the baddest gangsters. Like, I'm not trying to tell you guys what to do, yeah? All I'm saying is, see what happened to Sela? This is what's going to happen to you guys. You all think that it's fun and games right now until what happened to Sela happens to you, you know? You don't expect it, but it will come back and bite you in the ass. I'm telling you, just like I explained to you about 2 weeks ago, the worst enemy that one could have is an enemy you don't know you have. Imagine going to a prison, you're looking around, yeah? And you're thinking, I'm good. I'm gangster. And then the smallest bloke gets ya. I've seen it time and time again. You know, it's the guy that you don't know. That's the one you got to be careful of. You know what I mean? You can stand there and be a tough guy all you want, but this is what's going to happen inside prison. You know, there's the stories that I'm going to tell you guys. Philos, appreciate you. The stories I'm going to tell you guys in the next 1 year, these are stories that are going to shock your brain, but it's actually real stuff, yeah? Like, the stories in Australian prison is not as bad as the stories in American prisons. There's a guy in America telling American prison stories right now, and he's talking about guys that had their eyes taken out, things like that. No, this stuff, like, America's America, yeah? I don't know if you guys know this, but in America, like, the rapists are walking around, the pedos are walking around and all that. So, you know, over there, it's like, if they got the drugs, if they got the mobile phones, they get to stay in the pod. You know, over here in Australia, or in New South Wales, it's not like that, you know. There are things that happen here and there, time to time, but all those guys eventually get taken care of accordingly. But with Seller, after he got wounded very badly, he ended up saying, you know what, F this, I'm over it. I never said I was a gangster. I never wanted to be a gangster. I was just sticking up for my people. But guess what? When that thing happened with Seller, there was 2 Islander boys that were there as well, yeah? And they didn't get involved. Like, they also got umped. But guess what? Seller was getting umped and he was fighting. Obviously, he's a strong man, so he was going hard, yeah? The other 2 were standing there trying to make out like they got nothing to do with it. And as soon as Seller got umped, straight away the other 2 got umped, yeah? So these 2 idiots should have just ran in and all 3 of them should have stuck together and went hard. But that's what happens in prison, you know? You get those who can walk in and make things happen, and then you get those who freeze, you know, and they each say their ants pay, you know? Like, what can you do? That's prison. You got to deal with it. Right? That's why I never relied on anyone. I always relied on myself. Right? And those that I'm close with, and those that were there for me through thick and thin, I'll never ever forget them. Hence why I always give them shout outs and give them my love and respect. But with Seller, he went from Lithgow, ended up at other prisons, and then I was with him at Junee. When I got to Junee, Seller was in protection. All right. In and I was in the main. I'm not going to mention the names of the other Islander boys that were in protection because 3 of these boys, including Seller, were soldiers, like for the Islander boys. Yeah, gee, proper love yous, thank you very much. And when I asked Seller, I go, bro, what are you doing over there? When I got to freaking Junee, I walked in and there was only 3 Islander boys. Yeah, gee, 6, love yous, thank you. And I was like, bro, what's going on here? I'm going to get my head umped on, you know, because when I walked in, it was just Aboriginal boys everywhere at Junee. This was 2004. And Seller was in protection, and I yelled at him, what happened? And he goes to me, so I'm over it. I said, over what? He goes, bro, I just want to go home to my family. Profile, I love you. Thank you very much. and he said to me, man, I've been going hard for all the Islander boys, and why? I don't even understand what I'm doing, what I'm getting. There's a Philos, thank you. I don't even understand what I'm going through and what I'm doing. He goes, look at me, like he lifted up his shirt. He goes, bro, I've been got so many times and I'm not even understanding what I'm involved in. JT, Sleaze, thank you. And I felt for Seller that day when he explained it to me, but at the same time, Clary, Mr. Big, appreciate you. But at the same time, I was thinking to myself, what the hell? Like, I would never ever put myself in the boneyard. It doesn't matter, how many times I get jumped, yeah? But I didn't realize back then. Like, now that I'm grown up and I'm more wiser, I understand now where Seller was coming from, yeah? He wasn't gang related. He was never trying to be a gangster. He came into prison and he fought for the Islander boys. And then once the older boys took him under their wing, instead of treating him like family and looking after him, they got him on drugs, you know? And then the brother was inside protection and he was pretty much like over it. He was like, bro, I'm doing my time and I'm going home. That was a good thing, yeah? But guess what? The drugs had already defeated him. Lorena, appreciate you. You know, like, the brother was like, he couldn't control it, like his habit. I was there when he was going through this, you know, he probably tried to quit drugs like 6-7 times when I was there. Simple, appreciate you. When I was there with him in 2004, but that's what it was. It was ugly as F, you know, like, but the brother, like, I give it to him. Bucks, yes, thank you. When I walked into Junee and I knew I was going to have problems, Philos, appreciate you. For those of you boys who are all sitting there going, tell the story, tell the story, tell the story. But got in there, outnumbered, silly, and then I was with one of the Tongan boys who I'm not going to say his name because I know this Tongan guy got out and he went full legit family man, everything, you know. So I'm not going to mention his name, but stupidly, this Tongan guy came and told me the KOORIE boys want to talk to you. And then I said to him, if they want to talk to me, tell them to come here, because I was with the Asian boys at the time, yeah. Zale, thank you very much, Uj. And what happened was, Marie, thank you. When I told this to the Tongan guy turned around to me and goes to me, nah, dog, all good. Come over, like, I get along with all the KOORIE boys. They just want to talk, And I already knew deep down, like, that I was going to get jumped, yeah? La, Jimmy's, thank you. But this Tongan guy was older than me. He was Sella's age, one of the older Tongan boys. And remember, Sella's inside protection, and at Junee, the fence is probably about 3 meters high, yeah? So you can just jump over the fence and come over if you had an issue. Mo, thank you very much. So he dragged me, this Tongan guy, to the other side. I walked in, and I'm standing there, and I'm talking to a KOORIE guy. And then out of the blues, I seen something at the corner of my eye. I flinched, yeah? As I flinched, I got hit with an ice water bottle, and it hit me square in the shoulder, and it just missed my jaw. As I stepped back, I shaped up. As I shaped up, I turned, and like pretty much the KOORIEs, the younger KOORIE boys just ran at me, yeah? I threw a punch, and I turned around, and I legged it. As I ran outside the wing door, and then I ran towards a broom that was standing there. I grabbed the broom and I snapped it. And remember what I said? Cicella, he's the type who would just stand there and fight, yeah? Wouldn't grab brooms, wouldn't grab sheaves, nothing like that. Me, I was a young kid. I was 2004, so I was only like 20, yeah? And as soon as this happened to me, I quickly turned around and I ran. So I had all these KOORIE boys chasing me outside the wing. As soon as I got to the broom, I snapped it, and like both ends of the broom were sharp, and I was standing there and I was like yelling, come, and all of them like backed off because the screws, they didn't back off because they were scared of me, they backed off because all the screws started looking, yeah? And then I walked off and the screws were looking at me, and I had the broomsticks down so they couldn't see it, because at Junee there's an office, and when you walk past it, if you put your hands down, they can't see anything. So I walked, thank you Irish, love ya, hi Z, appreciate you. I walked to the wing where the Asian boys were, and I was holding the 2 sticks in my hand. I was just waiting for the KOORIE boys to come and attack me, yeah? They didn't end up coming. And then the older KOORIE boys came, and they said, hey, you have to have a one-on-one with the guy. For those of you guys who came and watched my live last week, yeah? Don't forget, remember when I was telling you about how I got involved in the racial wars, how the drama broke out? Remember, it all started over a cordial bottle, and then I started getting jumped. Every prison I went to, I was getting jumped by the KOORIE boys, and if I wasn't getting jumped, I had to have a one-on-one, you know? One-on-one's all good. Getting jumped, like, yeah, I did pretty good. But my point is, to all you youngsters, like, I was only a kid at the time, and I was going through all these rubbish. And yous are all kids right now that are going through things. You don't need to be involved in this stuff. Learn from my mistakes, yeah? So when I was at Junee, and this situation happened with me and the KOORIE boys, I was standing there with my 2 broomsticks. No one came, and then the Tongan guy came, and the big Tongan guy came over and he started apologizing. He goes, "Hey, also, I'm sorry that I took you over there. I didn't know these cunts were gonna do that to you. You know, I'm sorry, look, bro." And I go, "Get out of here, bro! Like, are you serious? You freaking set me up, took me over there." When he wouldn't leave me alone, like he kept following me and saying to me, "Also, I'm sorry." I realized he actually was sincere. He didn't mean to set me up the way he did. I didn't realize this older Tongan guy, it was his first time in prison. So, Y2, thank you. I didn't realize, Silva, that he took the KOORIE boys from face value, yeah? So when they said to him, "No, just bring him over, we're going to talk out a little issue, but it's just going to be talking," he come grab me thinking he's one of the older boys, went over there, and then I ended up getting ice water bottle, and my shoulder was effed up for about a week. I couldn't even move it. That's how hard he hit me with the ice water bottle, yeah? And now I was waiting for something to happen. Obviously, the Asian boys came over. They gave me 2 of these just so I could watch my back. And I didn't expect any of the Asian boys to back me up. My thing was, I'll do what needs to be done on my own. The Tongan guy, he was so strong-minded that even though it was his first time in prison, he goes to me, Uzo, he goes, "Grab whatever you need to grab and let's go." And I said, "Go where?" And he goes, let's go over to the KOORIE board. He goes, me and you. He goes, we're going to go on with it. And I said to him, what's wrong with you, bro? I go, bro, this is your first time in prison. Like, we can't just walk over there and go on with it and expect to walk out alive. I go, brother, it's a whole wing. You know, I said, I don't care. I do dumb things, yeah? And I said, you saw what happened then. I said to him, not even half the wing chased me. It was only probably about a few boys who chased me out of the wing. And then lucky for me, I found that broom that I snapped and it kind of stopped them. And then they didn't do anything because the screws were watching. And I said, bro, if we're going to do something, we have to go on with it. I said, don't come to me like saying to me, oh, bro, let's go over there and go on with it, yeah? And then the Tongan brother ended up understanding what I was saying. Like, bro, I think he was just upset of this Tongan brother because he felt bad that he set me up because I'm a young kid, yeah? And he just walked me in there and got me ice water bottled. Anyway, the older boy, KOORIE boys got involved, told us to have a one-on-one, went out, and when I walked out, I didn't realize all the Asian boys followed me out. So I had the big Tongan guy watching my back. I was ready for my one-on-one, and then all the Asian boys came. And when the Asian boys came, I turned around like that, and then they winked at me and they said, don't worry, we got your back. So I was like, all right, sweet, even numbers. KOORIE boys, I got the Asian boys and the big Tongan guy, yeah? Standing there, getting ready for these one-on-one. Long story short, one-on-one was done and dusted. Old mate came out second best, but at the same time, I could have annihilated him, yeah? But I'm the type who uses my brain. For someone so young, I knew how to navigate prison and the prison system and also inmates. And my thing was, if I attack this guy hard out and then he ends up on his ass and then I start pounding the hell out of him, bro, the Asian boys, yeah, they're strong, but they're skinny guys who go on with it, yeah? And mind you, the Asian boys are dangerous. But we were all outnumbered by the KOORIE boys. And I thought to myself, if I put this guy on show and I put him on his ass, we're going to get annihilated. So what I did was, the first 2 seconds of the fight, I clocked him twice, and he was already dazed. He was like back like this, yeah? And then when he came in, I let him give me a hit to the side of the head. He threw it straight. He missed. I clocked him again. Then he grabbed me, and he gave me probably about 4 knees, and I swear, like, I just let it happen. I said 1, 2, 3, 4. I felt the 4th one, and I picked him up upside down, and I slammed him on his head. But the thing is, I was thinking to myself about me and the Tongan guy, because I was thinking to myself, bro, if something happens, then me and the Tongan guy are gonna get hammered, because the KOORIE boys outnumbered us. And you know, again, respect to all the older KOORIE boys that were there that day. They were the ones who made sure it was a one-on-one. And the KOORIE boys obviously could have annihilated us that day, but they let it be one-on-one, and then we left it at that. But I kept having dramas with the KOORIE boys over the past, yeah? But the point of my story is, see Sela? Remember how I told you that he could have jumped over the fence? So when this whole issue broke out, yeah, Sela came with the other 3 Islander boys, the ones that I was telling you about, and he goes, as soon as something happens, also, we're gonna jump the fence and then we're gonna go on with it. Like, this is the type of person Sela was. Like, so much dramas broke out at uni during this moment. I'm not gonna explain it because I'm gonna save it to tell in full, yeah? But there's big stories of what happened over there during this time in 2004 to 2005. But this is the type of person Sela was. Even though he had said, this is the type of person Sela was. Even though he had said he's over it, he's done and dusted, he's not getting involved in anything else. As soon as he found out what was happening with me, straight away Sela was like, all good, so he goes, I'm there for ya. We'll jump the fence, we'll do what needs to be done. That story will be told next time, yeah? Right now, it has to come back to the younger generation. All right, let's deal with this. We had Sela, Blackie, and Jobsy. 3 good boys, yeah? Who didn't deserve what they ended up going through after prison. And this is what I'm saying to all you youngsters out there. It's not about surviving prison, yeah? It's about what's gonna happen to you when you get released. You know, I've been speaking to a lot of younger generation boys who have been messaging through. To all of you that I haven't replied to, I apologize wholeheartedly. But I got so many messages coming through. But just remember, you made the time to message me, and I'm going to make sure that I make the time to reply. Yeah. Now, this is where I want to end my live. See this cell behind me? This is Supermax cell. It's not the normal cells in the main. Yeah. This right here is where I was sleeping. Like, just looking at this cell, like, it's cringe. Because I know what I got up to when I was in there. You know, I'm not the type that does head miles. I'm not the type that that goes through a lot when my cell's locked. See the back at the back over here? That's our yard. Our yard is very small. Yeah, that toilet over there. The shower is right next to it, and you only get 6-minute shower in the morning, 6-minute shower at night. Right here, where the mattress is, if the screws, Marie, the simple, appreciate you guys. If the screws see that that you're being a smart ass and you think you're some tough guy, they'll take that mattress off you and you'll be sleeping on that rock bed. Do you guys know how many times I've had to deal with sleeping on that rock hard ass bed just from being Mr. Tough Guy? And this is what I'm saying to you younger boys, yeah? See this cell? If you end up inside prison, yeah, remember my words. I warned you. I gave you brotherly advice, you know? Like, this place here is the worst of the worst places. This prison cell is Supermax. Supermax is the most inhumane prison in Australia. Let me tell you something. There's going to be a lot of things that I'm going to be bringing up about Supermax. And one of the biggest things is housing the younger generation with the older boys. John, Alex, appreciate you guys. Like, the amount of time that the older boys in Supermax have used the younger boys to do their bidding. Mate, I'm telling you right now, it's just a shame, you know, because these younger boys who went in for not a long time, like I explained to you before, young Muslim brother named Harachi, yeah? You know what? I'm not even going to bring his family into it. But young brother Harachi was only had 18 months to go. The older Shabebs got into his ear and they made him friggin' do things that he shouldn't have been doing. He ended up getting, who the hell gets charged, yeah, for napping inside prison? So one of the younger Shabebs, he ended up being a snitch on the older Muslim boys. He also snitched in Harachi, yeah? But when Harachi only had 18 months to go, bro, I begged him, please, bro, don't get involved with these rubbish. You're still young and you're about to go home. They got into his ear. They used religion to take control of him, you know? And the brother is so loyal, so reliable, so sincere that he'll go above and beyond, you know? And he went from 18 months to 44 years. I'm not even going to explain like some of the stuff that he got time for. He got 7 years for writing a letter to the commissioner and say that he was going to do these to him. He got 10 years for napping inside prison when he tied up the other his cellmate and whipped him. You know, like that other Shabeb who snitched in all the other Muslim brothers. The amount of times that the Muslim brothers helped this guy, like, wow, I couldn't believe it. How can this bloke turn on his own Muslim brothers? Like, they prayed together every single day, five times a day, you know? And as soon as he felt like he wanted to go home early, that's what he did. He snitched in all the Shabebs so that he could go home early. And he used the napping from Harachi to go home early. And this is what I'm saying to you young guys. This is what's going to happen to you. The older boys are going to use you inside prison and out here. And then as soon as the consequences come around, they're all going to disappear. And guess what? Who's paying your legal fees? No one. Hey, your mom and dad can't afford it. Your missus can't afford your legal fees. So guess what? You're going on legal aid. And guess what happens when you're on legal aid? You don't get good representatives. And guess what happens when you don't get good representatives? You're going to be stuck in jail for another 10 years. Yeah, that's what I'm talking to you about right now. All right, I got freaking 10 years. Yeah, love you, Marie. Appreciate you. I got freaking 10 years for something that I had nothing to do with. I should have got charged for accessory after the fact, meaning when I got there, the situation had already occurred. That's accessory after that fact. I should have got charged for that. So to all you jewelry members that's watching this right now, yeah, you all remember my face, yeah, because you are all the friggin' idiots that found me guilty. I give you my word, I had nothing to do with it. And to all you 3 ladies that were standing there crying that day, yeah, you shed a tear for a reason. You locked up a bloke for 10 years for something you had nothing to do with. I should have got charged for accessory after the fact. And I had shit legals. I had lawyers who were setting me up, and then the best appeals barristers in New South Wales turned around and threw it in my face and said, oh, even though the victim turned up and said you had nothing to do with it, I don't see you having any points for an appeal. How do I not have points for appeal when the freaking victim turned up and said I had nothing to do with it? That's where I'm at right now with all you youngsters, yeah? This is what you're going to go through. No, I'm not trying to tell you boys what to do. Here's my story. What a shit story, eh? See how I ended it? What a shit story, eh? This is what's going to happen to you if you keep going down the road you're going. I know it's hard to work a 9-to-5 job. I know it's hard looking at all the gangsters rolling around in G-Wagons and Porsches and whatnot, yeah? But if you don't want to end up in prison, then just do you, bro. This is the era of technology. It's freaking much more easier for you guys to make money than it was for us back then. You know what I mean? We had to go and work a 9-to-5 job and do what needed to be done for the family. But you guys, in that's was, appreciate you, love you, thank you, Buttsy, appreciate you. You know, and you guys, like, it's so easy to make money today. You know what I mean? Like, the amount of stuff that I found on YouTube and Google since I got out of prison, like, mate, I've started up so many things in the last 15 weeks that I've been out. And what are you doing? Like, I just got out of prison after 7 years, yeah? And I had to start my license again. I went and got my L's. Then I went and got, I had to do this stupid thing called hazard test. I passed that. And then I got my red P's. So if I'm in there for 7 years and I got out and I worked my ass off to do this, I got rid of my freaking, my Centrelink and I got a job straight away. What are you doing? Are you still rolling with the oi bays, waiting for that next object to come along with the hope that it'll be a big hit? Or are you still sitting there, drinking up with the oi bays, talking about your next big score? Because trust me, you know, illegal money is what we call blood money, yeah? That blood money goes real quick. You spend it like it's nothing, yeah? All right. All the lingerie waitresses and all the pros, they're all cheering because you go out and do crime and then you spend it all on them, yeah? And then all the lawyers, they're all cheering because you go out and do crime and then you're spending it all on the lawyers, yeah? But you know, when you work hard 9-to-5 job, or when you're striving to make things happen for your family, when you get paid from that and it's legit, bro, I'm telling you, it's money that you cherish. That's all I'm going to say for today. I really appreciate everyone for tuning in. And to all the younger generation, I'm going to tell you again, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I explained my story with the hope that you guys learn from it. That's it, you know. To everyone who's been sending through gifts, I love you, Adris, appreciate you. Like, and to everyone that was tapping it up, the likes, my team standing behind me and saying to me, bro, you got 1.1 million likes. I love yous, I love yous, I love yous. I honestly appreciate all the love and respect out there. And all I can do is my best, yeah? Yeah, boy. This Friday, I might not go live on Friday. I'm trying to find a day away from the footy. Everyone's complaining to me that they want to watch the footy, but my live's at the same time, so they're trying to balance it. And obviously, if you're watching the footy, you want to have a good watch. So I'll keep everyone updated on the day that I choose to go live. Before I go live, but before I jet off, my love and respects to each and every one of you. It is what it is with TRIGGZ. I'm out.